The Bible is famously not stingy when it comes to the topic of giving. There's a pretty clear verse straight from the book of Matthew 5:42. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. This is one of those verses that's both beautiful and daunting because, let's be honest, if you live in a city like I do, Portland, you're approached by people asking for help frequently. It suggests an openness and generosity of spirit that's hard to live up to. But that's sort of the point, isn't it? The Bible is challenging you to be generous beyond comfortable limits. Move to Luke 6:30, and we see a repeat of the sentiment. Give to everyone who asks of you, and whoever takes away what is yours, do not demand it back. This ups the ante, not only asking us to give, but also to let go of possessions without bitterness if they're taken. These texts point to an ideal of unconditional generosity that aligns with the overall messages of self-sacrifice and love for others that Jesus espoused. It isn't about giving because you might get something back, or because it's a nice thing to do. It's about giving because that's the fabric of who you're supposed to be, a person who loves others and thinks of their needs. But let's come back down to earth for a moment. If you're like most of us, you have to balance the call to be generous with the need to be prudent. It's an internal tug-of-war between your resources and your empathy. Being told to give without limit can be paralyzing because, realistically, we all have limits. Interpretation here is key. It doesn't mean we have to give away the farm every time someone asks for a pig. There's wisdom in understanding your own boundaries and abilities to help. Sometimes the best way to give isn't financially, but through time, effort, and care. But at its core, the Bible's words aren't meant to be a back-breaking command, but rather a heart-expanding counsel, to foster generosity, openness, and a readiness to help others as an expression of your faith and humanity. It's a tough set of verses to live by, but with enough introspection and faith, it can be a guiding principle rather than a millstone. So maybe the best takeaway is to try and be more open-handed where you can, balancing generosity with discernment. It's not so much the act of giving itself, but the willingness and intention behind it that matters most.